There we go. Good evening, everyone. My name is Tina Hewerman, and I am a consultant, ambassador, affiliate, whatever we call it over here, with HB Naturals. I'm based out of Des Moines, Iowa, right here in the heartland of the Midwest, where 80 and 35 intersect, right in my town. So very excited to welcome you all on the call tonight. Last week, if you were on the call, the night before our Fulvic launch. If you were on early, you probably saw me crying because I was so incredibly excited to bring this to the company. Our team worked very hard to get this into the company, and I'm just so grateful for the chance of that. So, without further ado, let's see, where's my screen share? It's like this is my first time doing it. I can't believe it. Where's screen share? There it is. Okay, the big green bright box. Got it. All right, so tonight I am so incredibly excited to welcome again back this week Dr. Ivy Press. She is so amazing. The way she was able to break down fulvic acid, she like complete beast mode last week. She just did amazing. But I do want to cover a few little housekeeping things before I truly introduce her and bring her on camera. HB Naturals, our leaders are absolutely amazing. Their dedication to certification, pure products, pure quality ingredients. Those begin with pure raw ingredients. Heart Body Naturals research and development team sources the most potent ingredients from all corners of the globe for all potential health benefits. But we do have to say that the statements made in this meeting are not approved by the FDA, nor are they intended to diagnose, prevent, treat, cure any disease. This is truly for information purposes only. You do need to talk with your healthcare physician before incorporating any added health items into your regiment. And this does not place what goes on with you, the conversations you and your physician have. So I'm going to come back here and I'm going to pin Miss Ivy. Thank you so much. I know that the questions were overwhelming this past week because I was flooded with them. Our team was flooded with them. Our leaders were flooded with them. And we just sent them to you and say, hey, answer these. So do you want to give us just a quick little background on you and then we can get into some of those questions?
Absolutely. So thank you so much for having me on with you guys again. It was such an amazing undertaking to be with you last week and then to have the availability to be with you again this evening. A few personal housekeeping rules. I am a board certified naturopathic doctor, but I am not your particular holistic practitioner. So nothing I say here is meant to construed in any way, shape, or form that I am curing, treating, or diagnosing any diseases whatsoever. So just please keep that in mind. And I have been in the holistic space for 18 years now. It is just quite an amazing way to live your life. It is not anything that I would change for anything. Once you start living this way, you won't turn back because it's not worth it. Just like everybody, I'd like to encourage everyone that changes don't happen overnight. It's these little baby steps that accumulate day after day after day that then become your habitual habits. That is what makes a humongous difference for you. So this evening, we are going to go and get into kind of like a part two on how amazing fulvic is, kind of digging deeper a little bit into some diseases, going into gut function and immune function and things of that nature. And then along with that, answering quite a few of the questions that we had gotten throughout the week. So I hope to drive it home for you yet again. I'm looking forward to a second home run. So please, by all means, let me know how good or poorly I do. But I am going to begin to share my screen here.
Oh, let me get you co-host. There we go.
Okay,
I forgot
yeah.
to do that. All right, there you go.
So I'm going to begin here. Let me, let's see how I can do this. Yes. Okay. So here we go into part 2 of how amazing Fulvic is in general, but a little bit deeper into understanding why it has the benefits that it does. Here's a quick little recap for those of my buddies who didn't get to make it last time and our new friends who made it this time. We're going to do just a quick little recap here. We went into Britannica last week and we looked at what their definition was for disease. Okay, and so they define disease as any harmful deviation from the normal structural or functional state of an organism. Generally, this is associated with certain signs and symptoms different from physical injury. And it's important that we have that definition because we need to understand soldier surgery is not a disease. A broken rib is not a disease, okay? Disease has very, very different behavior from just something in your body that is just not working correctly. Now, basically, it's the inability to maintain systemic biochemical homeostasis. We are such an intricate organism as a human being. There's so much to us. We are so multifaceted that without biochemical homeostasis, we really do get into a lot of trouble. So we covered what fulvic is and where you can find it. You can find fulvic and humic acid in healthy soil, in clay, in mountain rock, mud, bodies of water, and so on. Now, it contains more than 70 minerals, along with trace minerals, electrolytes, amino acids, peptides, nucleic acids, phytochemical compounds, vitamins, prebiotics, and probiotics. So there were actually a few questions here very quickly before I move on. It can sound a little bit confusing, and they say, Ivy, what's the difference between electrolytes and minerals? Okay, so electrolytes are minerals: sodium, potassium, magnesium, and chloride. Electrolytes are minerals, but not all minerals are electrolytes. Okay, so I just want to put that out there so then that way we can get a little bit more of understanding how these work. Minerals are your basic calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium, chloride, zinc. You need more of these over your trace minerals. Your trace minerals, you need them in lesser quantities. And when we talk about trace minerals, we're going to talk about chromium, copper, iodine, manganese, phosphorus, selenium, sulfur, silica. Silica and silicon aren't typically added to this list, but I do believe they should be here, just in general. So fulvic is soluble at any pH, okay? It has the highest oxygen and trace mineral content known. Now, carrying an electric charge, we're going back to electrolytes and minerals here. Electrolytes and minerals carry an electric charge, and let me somehow, no, go back. I'm sorry. I am in, my face is in, let me, how do I,
We can see the slides, Ivy. Can you not see them?
yeah, so I need to just slide the boxes over. The boxes are kind of in my way.
Okay.
Let me
Okay,
see if I can lower them down. Maybe that'll work, right?
Yeah, it should.
Okay.
There should be little dots, bars. There's like a 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar, 4 bar, and that will get the boxes out of your way.
Okay.
And also, if you go to the top right corner, you could do side by side speaker, and that should, there you go. Did that work for you? Because it's not on
It
my side.
it does, but now there why does this do this? That's okay. There we go. Okay, so I'm kind of out of the way here.
You can drag and move that too out of your way.
Yeah, you know what? Let's see how far can I get it? It won't go anymore, but that's okay. That's all right. Okay, so sorry for that little technical difficulty there.
Okay.
Electrolytes and minerals, these are the guys that carry electrical charges in your body, okay? They move electrical impulses from cell to cell to stimulate muscle contractions and nerves. They balance the fluid around your cells. They're going to support hydration, blood pH levels. Too many minerals or electrolytes or not enough can be absolutely fatal, okay? Electrolyte mineral metabolism disorders and symptoms are going to vary widely. Number one, depending on the person. Number two, depending on which mineral it is. So, for example, when you talk about potassium, too much or too little can literally stop your heart. Okay, a lack in zinc can increase wound healing time. So, if you find yourself not healing quick enough from wounds, you might want to reconsider zinc and find out, what your levels in that are. So other symptoms would be of mineral and electrolyte deficiencies. We're going to see anxiety. We're going to see blood pressure changes, poor wound healing, like I just mentioned prior with zinc, chronic fatigue, dizziness, changes in appetite or weight, confusion, difficulty concentrating, the whole fogginess in your mind, okay, headaches and things of that nature. These are all tied to electrolyte and mineral imbalances. Okay, so with this quick little recap, we're going to really dig into some meat on these next couple slides here. One of the many questions we got was, how can this help my gut and immune function? Okay, fulvic acid being so multifaceted the way that it is, I thought it only right to go ahead and dedicate an entire slide to this gut and immune function for us because it is so vital. So often your gut is called your second brain, okay? It is home to, I think, over 100 trillion microorganisms. We can't even put a number on it, and I know it's got to be more than that, but that's the number you will generally see. It's home to 100 trillion microorganisms or more and all of their genetic material. This is what we call the microbiome, okay? Now, your gut is an entire system. It's not just your intestines. Your gut is your gastrointestinal system. It's your gastrointestinal tract. It's your digestive system along with your digestive tract. All of that embodied together is literally what creates and what your gut encompasses, okay? Your gut is vital because this is where and this is what is breaking down your food that you consume. It breaks it down into nutrients, into energy that you need to excel in biological processes of life so that you can breathe, you can build muscle, you can repair and grow and thrive. Your food 100% affects all of this behavior. It affects your brain health, your eye function, your GI health, your digestive success. How effective can you digest things? Okay. How effective can you transport waste products out of your body, away from your cells? How quickly can you pick up the waste and remove it out? It is vital for your blood health, okay, for your energy, for your physical, mental activities, repairing cells and tissue. This is all what your gut is doing for you. Now, I say this all the time. If you provide lousy fuel, you're going to get lousy performance. Now, if you keep that up long enough, you'll eventually cease to perform, period. Okay. And I don't think any one of us wants to do that sooner than what we're supposed to. So, your gut barrier, okay, keeps contents within itself from escaping into the bloodstream before they're ready or safe to do so. We have a little graphic on the right-hand side here, and there's a little blue line drawn right in the middle, and it says GI inflammation. To the left, you can see what the healthy intestinal lining looks like, and then to the right, you see what an unhealthy intestinal lining looks like, and we're going to go over that. Now, this is an extremely delicate system, and we all need to understand that it is harmed and can be harmed very well by medication, heavy metals, antibiotics, your toxic burden. Also, that's going to be individual. However, toxicity someone can tolerate. That's very individual. It depends on your lifestyle, where you live. Do you smoke? Do you drink? All kinds of things like that that are very individual to you are going to determine what kind of toxic load or burden you can tolerate and for how long. Okay. Your diet is a big factor in injuring your own gastrointestinal tract. People say, well, how can my diet injure my GI tract? Well, easy. If you're not focused on consuming organic foods and you get normal conventional foods, they're doused with glyphosate. Okay. If anybody is not aware of how dangerous glyphosate is, I hope to drive it home for you right now. Years ago, when they introduced glyphosate, number one, it was only first used to be sprayed on lawns. Okay, it's a weed killer. And then somehow the FDA thought that it was a great idea. Someone asked, well, why can't we spray this on crops before we harvest them? It's a desiccant. So a desiccant means that it dries the crop out and it doesn't allow mold to grow on the crop, right? Doesn't let it get moldy, soggy, or get affected by the temperament and the weather. And the court said, well, how do we know that this is safe for humans? And Monsanto said, it doesn't affect humans at all because humans don't have a shikimate pathway. Well, guess what does have a shikimate pathway? All of our gut microbiome and microbiota, all of our good bacteria, all those good guys that live in there, they contain a shikimate pathway. So by consuming foods that are loaded with glyphosate, by definition, you're killing your microbiome. You're absolutely wiping it out by doing so. Okay. So that was one way that Monsanto thought they could get away with just having glyphosate allowed being sprayed on our foods. So prior to gut function being harmed, this is talking about someone who's genuinely doing good, someone who's generally healthy. Okay. Our gut junctions, you can look on the right-hand side of our little graphic here. Okay, you have junctions that are nicely and tightly knit. We have little red picket fences there between each junction, and they're like little woven fences. Okay, now through a woven fence, nutrient particles can get through where they belong. They get through your gut junction into your bloodstream. Remember that our gut barrier keeps things maintained inside the gut so that things that don't belong in the blood don't go there. Okay. When you injured your gut, you can look over to the right of that graphic. Now you see that the gut junctions, they're basically open. Anything and everything passes through there, thinking they're going to have a party. Things end up in your blood. This is where doctors find bacterial matter in people's blood. They find fungal matter in people's blood. They find food proteins in people's blood. If I have any celiac friends on here, any gluten-free friends on here, please raise your hand so Tina can see you, because I want to tell you something directly. Just because you take a food intolerance test and they happen to find that food protein in your blood doesn't mean that you have a problem with that food. It means that you have leaky gut junctions that are letting things through that don't belong there. Okay. A lot of times of what I see with celiac people, even clients that come to me that I work with that issue, I see this in celiac communities. I see some raised hands here. I see some celiac communities where people will join them and they will just mentally be okay that this is just going to be how they're going to be for their entire life. There's kind of like a mental giving up where they're not focused on finding someone that's equipped to help them. They're just okay with not being okay. And I think that's the biggest detriment to that I see in that whole kind of community there. All you have to do is work on getting your gut the way that it should be. There are people that were celiac or non-celiac or gluten-free that they can have sprouted grains with no problem. They can have fermented foods with no problem after healing the gut, of course, in a particular way. So like I said, prior to your gut being harmed, your junctions are tight, your cells communicate with each other. Your cells communicate with a higher accuracy rate. That means what one says, the other one actually understands. They talk to each other and they say, you know what? We only need this much of zinc. We only need this much of copper. Whatever's excess, we're going to get rid of it. Okay. This is how effective your communication is within your gut. They're literally communicating with each other and deciding what is absorbed and what is passed through. Now, when we have gut permeability, that's the opposite of proper gut function. So, gut permeability is how easily nutrients move into your bloodstream from your digestive system. Well, leaky gut allows poorly digested fragments and bacteria and other material into your blood where it doesn't belong. Okay, so I just want you to take home that there is hope for you, and you don't have to think that you're going to be like this for the rest of your life, because that's not what ends up happening. Okay, so I thought it fit well here to throw in autoimmune, okay, because it's in this slide in particular. Now, autoimmune is basically just a catch-all phrase that the medical community has, okay? It's a catch-all phrase, it's an umbrella phrase, and really basically when they don't know what to do, they just dump things under this umbrella phase, okay? Well, what are some official things that we have under this little catch-all phrase here? We have MS, we have Graves, we have lupus, celiacs, non-celiacs, you got fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis. Autoimmune disease is your own body's immune system attacking your tissues and organs, okay? Here's me helping you, trying to understand why that happens. Chronic acidity and inflammation causes cellular injury. Why is that? Because chronic acidity results in the blood diverting harmful acids it can't neutralize at the time. It dumps them over to what it considers to be less vital tissue to protect your vital organs. This is a protective mechanism. Your body is not against you, it's not failing you, but understand what it's trying to do for you. So this makes your organs temporarily safe, but diversion causes joint and skeletal problems as well. So acid damages cells, immune system attacks them, and they become damaged because it recognizes them as unhealthy. So if you have autoimmunity, I want to tell you, I see this all the time. Probiotics are never your first step. Why? Look at the graphic over to the right. When you have leaky gut, things that pass through that don't belong into your blood, probiotics are one of them. Good probiotics, anything like that has no business being in your bloodstream. It can cause a person to go mad. This is why kids with autism or ADHD or ADD, you give them a probiotic most times and they absolutely act crazy. It's not because the person or the child is bad or acting out. It's because those probiotics don't belong in the bloodstream. Okay. If I'm driving this home and if I'm helping you connect the dots, please raise your hand so Tina can see you, so that absolutely, absolutely. Thank you. Okay. This is why probiotics are never step one, guys. And I'm going to give you a little clue. Okay. You get your minerals in balance first. You work on your minerals, getting them in balance first. Remember what I said the last time. Minerals are the mortar that hold your vitamin bricks together. If you picture your vitamins as your bricks, your minerals are your mortar. You have no mortar, those bricks have nowhere to go. They're gonna do nothing. You can't organize a firm wall, you can't build anything, you can't build structures, you can't do anything if you don't have minerals in place. So whenever I'm working with someone, their protocol never includes probiotics, until we're 90 days in, 5 months in, or even 6 months in. Okay. So I just want to let you guys in on that little tidbit there, because I see people tons of times trying to say, I've got to heal my gut, so I'm going to go get this probiotic. And I cringe inside, and sometimes, listen, you come across people, they don't want to hear it. But then you come across those that are like, please, what are the right steps to do this? So I'm here trying to tell you what are the right steps to do. Now back to my bullets here. Okay, so if you have autoimmunity, probiotics are never the first step. Okay, you must get your minerals in place, and then other things come into play as well. So really, probiotics come out to be pretty much last on the list. Now, acidity affects the body's immune system. Okay, your immune cells don't identify and attack healthy cells or healthy tissues. Okay, your immune system is going to go to where this acid damaged tissues are, or these acid damaged cells are. Can you guess what is the root cause of acidity? It is a mineral imbalance. Okay, remember that. Remember that. Remember these little key points, because in the previous slide, I just told you everything that fulvic acid has. It's the number one most oxygenated item, and it's the highest in not only electrolytes, but minerals. And we already talked, electrolytes and minerals can kind of be used, one or the other. Not all minerals are electrolytes, but in general, electrolytes are minerals, okay? So here we're going to get into degenerative and inflammatory diseases. Now, when we talk about degenerative and inflammatory diseases, we're going to hit things like cancer, heart disease, diabetes, autoimmune diseases, which we just covered in the previous slide here. What is the commonality that they have? Acidity, inflammation, and oxidative stress. Okay, now if we tackle cancer right now really quickly, cellular fluid of cancer cells is extremely acidic. They metabolize glucose without oxygen. Number one, they prefer it. And number two, that's just how they work. They process glucose by fermenting it. That means it is processed, its metabolic behavior does not include oxygen. So the cost of doing business for a cancer cell results in lactic acid. This is what they excrete. This is their cost of doing business, of growing, of progressing and advancing into different stages. The result of their business is lactic acid. Okay, it's an extremely strong acid. So because it thrives in acidic conditions, cancer is going to make sure that it creates more acid. It's not going to let its environment drop its acidity. It's going to continue to make more acidity. This causes overproduction of free radicals. Now, here is how intelligent cancer can be. Free radicals act as messengers, sending signals through protein pathways, and they bombard your surrounding cells uncontrollably with damaging free radicals. So this is just a side note for you. When our body functions correctly, we actually have white blood cells on a regular basis patrolling our blood looking for cancer cells. Cancer cells are cells that don't behave the right way. Cancer cells, remember in the first time, in our first class, cancer cells are cells that don't have their kill switch flipped on. Okay, so these are cells that already, they're not behaving the right way. They're growing outside of their diameter of what they're supposed to grow to. They're bumping into other cells' personal space. This is when cells start bumping one another, okay? This is the telltale behavior of a cancer cell. Well, your white blood cells know these telltale behaviors. They patrol your blood. They see a cancer cell. What do? They approach it. They pump it with oxygen. Oxygen raises its pH, and it's dead on arrival. If you're healthy, your body has typical white blood cells on a regular basis patrolling 24 hours a day. When you're not, that white blood cell might try to bump up against a cancer cell and be ineffective at injecting it with oxygen. Okay, ineffective in increasing its pH, ineffective in killing it. Now, if we go to heart disease affects over 80 million people in the United States. Its acidity in the body has a significant effect on the heart, the veins, arteries, specifically your LDL cholesterol and plaque formation. LDL is laid down at such a rapid rate in the heart that when the heart plasma habitually becomes more acidic, it acts like a chemical irritant that slowly attaches and eats its way at the smooth muscle of the inner walls of your heart, your arteries, and your veins. If we touch on insulin resistance, diabetics, metabolic syndrome, this is basically the inability to transport sugar from the bloodstream into your cells for energy. This one right here really kills me because of how, I thought cancer was intelligent, but when you get into metabolic syndrome, you get into a whole different ballgame. Okay. Insulin is basically a hormone that your pancreas shoots out. It attaches insulin receptors on every cell in your body. From your brain to your toes, you have insulin receptors everywhere that you can look at. Okay. This allows, this sends the signal to the cells in the body to go ahead and allow the glucose in the cell for delivery and for utilization to create energy and all of that. Now, chronic acidity contributes to insulin resistance within the body because it interferes with the glucose delivery. Your cell receptors no longer recognize insulin hormone, and they deny the access to transport glucose inside, causing sugar to build up within your blood. Now, when your body identifies that there's a lack of sugar in the cells, okay, your body sees that as starvation. And instead, it's going to convert every calorie into fat. This is why with diabetes, metabolic syndrome, or insulin resistance, there is a severe issue with being overweight. So free radicals attack the damage, not to mention that free radicals also attack and damage the pancreatic islet B cells, and that worsens the problem. So here we go. Fulvic acid has been identified as a super antioxidant that neutralizes all classes of free radicals. Not to mention it increases your antioxidant enzymes like SOD. We remember from last time that that's superoxide dismutase. This guy brings his friends copper and zinc to break down toxic charged oxygen radicals. Okay? Humic home run. It assists you in reversing chronic acidity, chronic inflammation, chronic oxidative stress, okay? Because it's multifaceted and it's charged, a charged particle ion. It is able not only to take with it the trash, but also deposit the things that you need, the things that are vital for normal function, for normal behavior, the things that are vital for gut health. If I tell you that all diseases begin in the gut, then I need to show you why that is. And I hope I did a pretty decent job at explaining that through that slide. But remember, like I said, this is so multifaceted, and these body systems are so intricate that I almost feel like I don't really do it justice. But I hope you guys can put two and two together. Okay, Fulvic is neutralizing all families of free radicals. It is adjusting pH. It is addressing chronic inflammation, chronic acidity, okay, which our bodies don't do well if those things are out of balance. Now, here are a lot of the questions that I got aside from, please cover, certain diseases and gut function and immune health and all of that. Can you start it just without anything else? Absolutely. Minerals should be number one that you focus on to getting in place. Okay. Can you take it habitually? Somebody said to me. Well, do you ever not need vital electrolytes and minerals? Because you don't manufacture all of those. So you will need it on a regular basis to have a healthy functioning microbiome. Okay. What's another one? Oh, somebody said I have my little old school notepad right there on my wall. Somebody said, Ivy, I heard you say on the first Zoom that you would do this, in between each baby. Well, how come, how come you waited until in between each baby? I waited in between each baby because remember, a couple of reasons. Number one, I didn't know what I knew now 15 years ago. So 15 years ago, my mentality was, when I'm done doing this huge task of growing this baby, of nursing this baby, and all of that, I want to take some time for myself. I want to implement intermittent fasting. I want to do all the things that you couldn't really do during nursing or during pregnancy. Nobody's intermittent fasting during those times. Nobody, is doing heavy metal detoxes at those times. When you're nursing is a channel for elimination. I didn't want my baby to risk having anything that I was trying to cleanse out of my own body. But 15 years ago, I knew the basics that eating clean keeps you very clean. When you eat clean, you're able to be very, very healthy and detoxified in a manner because you're providing all the nutrients your body needs. And normally, your body doesn't want to hoard garbage, it doesn't want to hoard waste, right? So, when you eat clean, even just the basic act of doing that does such an amazing job for you without going, deep into the tissue and pulling things out that have been, buried there for quite some time. Remember, I have a lot to deal with. I had a very toxic childhood. So my goal wasn't always to just go deep down, for my first few months. You start lightly, then you get deeper and deeper as you go. As you get more seasoned, also, you learn how to handle detoxification and any issues that may come with it. um so as you get more experience, you get better at what you're doing. And this is my last slide. So Tina, if there are any more questions. Oh, you're muted, Tina.
Thank you. Thank you. The question that I see keep popping up in here is regarding breastfeeding. So
Right.
so that would be a no then, right? Or,
Personally for me, yes.
okay.
Personally for me, because I know that fulvic acid is going to grab onto my heavy metals, and whatever stage you are in your life, whatever detox pathways you have open are going to be utilized at that time. So I don't want it in my milk, right? Passing to my baby. So for me personally, that's what I would do. That's how I answer, if it were me and if I were nursing a baby right now, that's exactly my answer.
Okay. And then the other question was, Adam, sorry, we can't give medical advice based on diseases, but
Right.
fulvic acid does balance. I'm reading one of the questions up here on the screen. Does balance the acidity in the body. So
Correct.
that's how we can portray the response to your question. What about children taking it or using it?
Well, I'm a mom of five, and so my older kids I have no problem working with them. Now, we have to understand that children, unless you're raising them in a very unhealthy way, children are like brand new out of the box, okay? There isn't anything that would warrant something like this for them. If you just want them to have the electrolytes and the minerals, there are other ways you could provide that in your diet without having it to be fulvic acid, especially if they're really, really little, because there's going to be nothing for that to work on and to pull. So when I just evaluate things for my kids, I just think kind of in that format. Number one, do my kids need it? If there's something, an aspect of this that I would like my kids to have, can I just do it through diet, right? If I feed my kids a lot of antioxidants, we have a lot of very high antioxidant smoothies, one or two during the day, and they get a lot of minerals through there, a lot of electrolytes. And so for me, if I could do it through diet, that would be my preference with small children.
Okay. What about there's some contradictory information, and if you can't answer this, that's okay, in regards to fulvic and autoimmune diseases?
Okay, when we talk about contraindications, Tina, that is very individual.
Okay.
It's not the same for everybody. There's a group, I'm with a Lyme community, right? And some of those people, some of the Limeys, they can't have a normal life unless they're on a some kind of like elderberry, right? But other limeys can't handle it. So autoimmunity is not a one size fits all. You can
Right.
have 10 people in the room with the same autoimmune condition and they're all going to express it differently. So it's not the same. It's very individual. So the contraindications for that, it won't even perform that way across the board with everybody that has that one autoimmune condition, right?
Right. And then somebody said teens. Yes, that's teens are older and probably exposed to more chemicals. Alicia, we can't do medical advice. That would be something you would need to research on your own. And there's a couple of people that asked about taking it, and I know I did a video on that last week, and then we covered it on our team call. But do you want to explain the importance of starting very slowly with this? Because I've got one girl that can only take like 1/36 of a teaspoon and
Okay.
only worked up to 1/8, I think, was when she stopped taking it when we were together.
Okay, now I love that. And for the past 15 years, I just want to say I've been exposed to all kinds of fulvic acid, either in powder form or in liquid form. Okay, I love powder form much better than anything else because you control it actually. And I love that. I don't prefer to have somebody dilute it for me, I prefer to do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, starting out, absolutely, it's only wise to give an eighth of a teaspoon a try. See how you do with that. Because remember, everybody's biochemical condition inside of you right now is completely different. Your biochemical needs that you had this morning at 10 a.m. are a lot different now at 8:40 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. So your biochemical needs change all throughout the day. So start out with an eighth of a teaspoon. I like it. I'll tell you what I do for myself. An eighth of a teaspoon first thing in the morning on an empty stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I'm doing exercise, which I am now, I will go have my exercise, my 20, 30 minutes, and then come down here, take my eighth of a teaspoon, and it that's the best that I can do for me. You can work up to a quarter teaspoon. I will tell you that a lot of people have the misunderstanding that more is better. And I want to tell you that less is more. I want to tell you less is more. You might not need so much. Remember that an imbalance is not only having too little, but it can be having too much. So it's always safest to start out like an eighth of a teaspoon and see if you can work up to a quarter. Now, I like a quarter for me just fine. You might find that a quarter teaspoon, twice a day on an empty stomach can be great for you too. But remember, it's not always about more, okay? A lot of the times, less is more.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we have gone 15 minutes over with your time, and I just appreciate your servanthood to the entire team, the entire company in talking about this and sharing my passion. I'm so grateful to have this product here. I'm so grateful to have this time with you. And we will continue to educate people on this because a lot of people had never heard of this a month ago. So very, very grateful. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting. So again, thank you, Dr. Ivy. Any last
Thank you
comments?
guys so much. I appreciate you, and I loved all the questions that came in. And I hope that I was able to connect some dots for you and that you guys were able to really get, what I wanted to drive home for you all. So enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.